One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Whistles report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, Vietnam. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. Let's get it this morning. Happy Felony Friday to everybody. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves. I definitely know that we are. We got a big morning ahead of us, as you guys see on the title there. Trump leaves China. Of course, we covered that yesterday about, the majority of their conversation and how it went. It actually went way better than expected, better than probably anyone else expected, actually, especially when it was that surprising to me. And then, of course, we have Hormuz ship seized. We had one happen yesterday and then one today. So these are it's kind of becoming a theme. And we're going to get into it about what that is and the theatrics behind that. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And then, of course, we got the virus alert. So regarding the Hantavirus, we have an update from the CDC. And they say that they've got it somewhat, meaning it's not spreading. They have a total of 41 cases, I believe. And right now it's staying and holding at 41, which is exactly what we would hope for, right? Anyways, let me go ahead and tell you guys the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing this morning. First, we're going to be talking about yesterday, Border Patrol chief resigns effective immediately. Now, I wonder why that is. We're going to have to, watch that together to find out that. Then we have U.S. attacked by Iranian groups over 350 times before the start of the war. Now, this was in front of the Senate yesterday when we had AFRICOM and CENTCOM, Central Command, over there, not testifying, but, it's a hearing in front of the Senate. And this was said yesterday in that Senate meeting, in that Senate hearing, U.S. attacked by Iranian groups over 350 times before the start of the war, which I haven't heard that number before. I didn't know about that. So we're going to have to listen in and figure out what's happening with that. Then we have that ship seized near the Strait of Hormuz, brought toward Iran, it says. A ship anchored off the United Arab Emirates was seized and taken toward Iran, and another, a cargo ship near Oman, sank after being attacked, authorities said Thursday, as tensions escalate near the Strait of Hormuz. All right, so, and then we have a little clip about that exact, Iran seizing that ship over there by the, near the Strait of Hormuz. We have a small clip for you guys as well about it. And then we have a little bit of what Trump and Xi had going on yesterday. There was a final round of talks. It says Trump and Xi meet for last round of talks during China visit. That was just 10 hours ago. That was at midnight Central Standard Time for us over here, where I live. So that's new news for us. And then we have tensions over Taiwan rise between U.S. and China as Trump departs for United States. Now, of course, that is something that is a big topic for Xi. That's the biggest one, aside from, of course, Xi did agree that the Strait of Hormuz needs to be open for the world and blah, blah, blah. It needs to be, but their main concern was Taiwan. And then we have Trump on China and Taiwan. I don't think we want a war 9,500 miles away. Well, we've never allowed distance to stop us. And then we're going to get into Hantavirus regarding the virus alert. Hantavirus, 41 people in 11 states monitored for potential exposure, CDC reports. It says the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDD, said Thursday that it is monitoring an estimated 41 people in nearly a dozen states for possible exposure to the hantavirus, specifically the Andias. I don't know if I'm saying that correct. Virus, which is the one that spreads person to person, like I've been telling everybody. You guys remember when we were talking about this hantavirus and how we had so many people in the chat come in like thinking then they know exactly what's going on. Oh, it doesn't transfer person to person. It's not transferred that way. Well, listen, numbnuts, there's 9 different strains of this thing. And the one rare strain is what I already explained to you guys multiple times. It's over there. It's from Argentina. It comes from rodents and their shit droppings and their fucking piss. And yeah, that's what ended up happening. We had a couple, a Dutch couple, go bird watching. And where did they go bird watching in Argentina? They went to a landfill. And then where they got contacted with this bullshit, went back to the cruise ship, got on the cruise ship, and then spread it like wildfire. Oh my God. And then we have Trump. China agrees to not sell weapons to Iran amid war. It says President Trump says China has agreed to sell weapons to Iran. Wait, so this comes after high stakes talks with Chinese President Xi. While both sides confirmed a strengthening relationship between the countries, tensions over Taiwan are rising. Chinese President Xi warned Thursday of, quote, clashes and even conflicts with the United States over Taiwan, cautioning President Donald Trump that tensions over the Beijing-claimed island could jeopardize ties between the world's 2 biggest economies. A lot of shit going on. And then, of course, this morning, just coming out right before we hit go live, House Speaker Mike Johnson speaks to reporters this morning. So we're going to, of course, be playing that for you guys as well. All right, quickly, let's go ahead and well, damn, we got Sterling Will coming in with some gifted stuff. So let's go ahead and read this off real quick. We got Sterling Will coming in with the 10 spot saying, good morning, kids. Support the IWF. Yes, sir. Sending in love with the 10 spot, my man. And then also sending in 5 gifted memberships. My man, thank you very much for that. Helping me and 5 others in the IWF, my man. Thank you very much for that. It definitely goes a long way. All right, let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll get into the craziness this morning. Make sure you guys hit that like button and double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. And also hit that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning, man. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram right here at Ball Valve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. Speaking of the campaign trail, we had our last final meet and greet last night, about 2.5 hours away. I got back home around midnight. So yes, it was a good time though. It's out there by the Mississippi border, so it's a little bit far from me. But anyways, last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are of course all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. At any time, you guys can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And then, of course, I'll be reading out loud anything that comes our way like that, just like a super chat. We've got our email up. We're going to be scanning. All right. Good morning to everybody, man. Great to see everyone. And Virginia Chaos coming in, gifting out 5 memberships as well. Let's go. My man showing immense love, giving out 5 gifted memberships. Not only helping me, but helping you guys as well. Listen, this is a great day to be gifting out memberships because what? Tomorrow morning is members only, man. We're going to have a great time. Thank you very much for that, VC. That definitely goes a long freaking way, man. All right, let's go ahead and get into this first story this morning. We're going to be discussing Border Patrol Chief resigns, quote, effective immediately.
Right now, though, I do want to get you to some breaking news that we are following here, just coming in to the Live Now from Fox Newsroom. Take a look right here as Fox News now reporting breaking. U.S. Border Patrol Chief Mike Banks abruptly resigns, Fox News has learned. Now, the information here coming from Bill Melugin, who posted this on social media moments ago, saying breaking. U.S. Border Patrol Chief Mike Banks tells me he is resigning effective immediately. Quote,
Oh,
it's
shit.
just
We got the man, the myth, the legend right here, Mr. Boulay. No way. Good morning, my man. We got Alabama's finest right here. Roll Tide, baby. Yes, sir. The man about numismatics, the man that knows about gold and silver like a motherfucker. We always appreciate you, man. Good morning.
time. I feel like I got the ship back on course.
Joseph, good morning.
From the least secure,
Pablo.
disastrous, chaotic border to the most secure border this country has ever seen. Time to pass the reins. 37 years. It's time to enjoy the family and life. Now, again, this information here is just coming in via Bill Melugin over at Fox News as we gather the latest. Now, it's important to note that Banks was appointed back in January of last year, serving in that role up until, it sounds as though, today. And you can see some of the video right here if you're not familiar with exactly who he is. This is part of an interview that was conducted by Fox News about the status of Border Patrol not too long ago. Now, as I mentioned, Banks appointed back in January of last year, and no Senate approval or confirmation needed. So he was appointed by then President-elect Donald Trump back on January 16th, 2025, and then sworn in just days later on the 22nd. I mentioned here we did have this post coming in from Bill Melugin. This is a quote, as he said, "I feel like I got the ship back on course from the least secure, disastrous, chaotic border."
The way that Josh just read that, I thought he said, "I feel like I got the shit back on course." And I'm like, what? He said that? No, he said, "I got the ship back on course."
To the most secure border this country has ever seen. Time to pass the reins. 37 years. It's time to enjoy the family and life. And again,
what's up, Steve Easy? Good morning.
As we mentioned, it sounds as though this was kind of abrupt as for what we're hearing from Bill Melugin. Again, we'll follow all of.
Well, this is a big deal right here, man. This motherfucker did a great job. I mean, not that I've dug into his entire work, specifically him, but what we've seen at the border has been successful. All right, so let's go ahead and move on into U.S. attacked by Iranian groups over 350 times before the start of the war. Now, I haven't heard that claim before, okay? This is the first time I'm actually hearing it. And it actually came out yesterday when we had AFRICOM and Central Command. They went out and, in front of Congress, specifically the Senate, and had this hearing. And this was stated yesterday. Now, I didn't watch it actually live while it happened. We only caught a little bit of it yesterday. So this is a very specific part. Let's go ahead and figure out what's being said here.
I think it's important to note, just in the 30 months before Epic Fury commenced, Iran and its proxies had been attacking U.S. service members and diplomats.
Wow, 30 months prior.
350 times.
Can you repeat that?
About every third day, Iran and its proxies.
Oh, shit. No, I did not hear about that, Pablo. I'm going to have to look into that.
Attacked American service members 350 times in the Middle East.
I don't think that Americans were aware of that in the 30 months that they had attacked Americans or their service members 350 times. Does that surprise you that I would say that?
Right. Because, I mean, listen, like I just said, even someone like myself who is in this every single day, I didn't hear anything about that.
I don't believe the everyday American going to work knew that?
No.
It's disappointing, but between the actions of proxies in Iraq and Syria, as well as the Houthis, that's simply the fact of what happened.
And the monthly.
No, that's what homie was just saying. Pablo was just talking about that, and I'm gonna have to look that up, Gary. I was just saying that I definitely got to check that out.
Leading up to that decision, that very serious decision on February the 28th. What were your...
Oh, shit. Brother VC coming in hot, by the way, on the Cash App. My man, sending in $11. Dude, thank you so much for the selfless support that you show every day, really, man. So there's no obligations, by the way. But he says, so 2.5 gallons of gas and a line of on a hooker's ass. I can get down with that. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the 11 spot on the Cash App, where I get to keep 100% of those proceeds, man. Thank you very much. What's up, Tree Crew? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
Concerns regarding the proliferation of missiles or the ability of the United States to do anything if that
I can't
nuclear
copy and
threat
paste it from
escalated.
StreamYard.
Senator, in this venue, what I would say is, since our number one priority is to prevent a nuclear-capable Iran, I always, every day, focused on that problem. But what we saw in the weeks and months leading up to Epic Fury was an increase in the production capability of ballistic missiles, which presented a very significant risk both to the partners and ourselves. And this is why it was part of our military objectives to eliminate those missiles and equally, if not more importantly, eliminate the ability for Iran
And
to
those
generate.
Well, the thing is, if they're going to be making a claim like, hey, they were attacking us 350 times, 3 months or 30 months prior to the war, I'd like to actually see that evidence. You know, if you're going to be making such a bold claim, it'd be one thing to say if they attacked us once or twice or something like that. But we're talking to U.S., people here. We're not talking about proxies and them attacking Israel. We're talking the United States. So I'd like to actually have the evidence of that.
Couple of months leading right up until that, you saw a dramatic escalation in that ability on Iran's part.
That's correct.
That's also fake news, Steve Easy. That's also fake news. By the way, it's been outlawed to that you can marry your cousin or anything like that in Alabama. That's a total myth. But it is funny. It is funny, but it's a myth.
Between starting in about November and December, you started to see an increase in Iran's capability and intent to produce more ballistic missiles.
And if we couldn't have neutralized that threat diplomatically, does there come a point where that's not an option anymore, where there may be a slippery slope where we can't get back to our ability to be effective to quell that threat?
Without crossing into classified lanes, the short answer is yes. Iran had a large scale capability to produce ballistic missiles beyond which.
Well, that is true. What he's speaking about there is Iran's missile program. Their ballistic missile and hypersonic missile program is by far the best in the world, actually. This is objectively speaking, of course. That's the one thing that they rely on their ballistic missile program essentially for their Air Force and their Navy. Yes, did they have a very small Air Force and Navy? Yes, they did. But what really is their attack and defense is their ballistic missiles.
Could potentially be defended. I think that's a very important point. The second point is that capability has been virtually eliminated.
And I believe I heard you say at this point, you believe Epic Fury has satisfied its mission.
What's up, Hardwire? Good morning.
Senator, we met every military objective of Epic Fury.
And what is the difference between?
So that's Cap right there. So she just asked, have you guys, you guys, got all your objectives completed essentially on Epic Fury? The truth is they got 1 out of 4 of their objectives that they claimed that they wanted to get done by this operation. 1 out of 4 was actually made. Now, it's okay to concede and go, hey, we need to pivot and move into the other direction. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I don't like is when they say, yes, we did get all of our objectives, which did not happen, obviously. Obviously, we're still there. All right, so let's just go ahead and move on here. We're going to get into this ship that was seized near the Strait of Hormuz, brought toward Iran. Now, here's the thing about this whole ship, takeover, seizing from Iran's standpoint. The first 2 ships that Iran did this with in the Strait, not that long ago, we found out later on, about a week later, that they stole their own tanker. Now, was it an Iranian flagged ship? No, but it was Iranian oil on those ships. So you got to remember there's theatrics and everything. They can't win on a direct impact thing. So they have to use a little bit of theatrics and a little bit of game in the way that they present their shit. So now I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening right here, right now on these ships, because there was one yesterday and one today. I'm not really exactly sure until we find out like the bill of lading that states that this is Iran's oil. we don't know that yet. It's all speculation. So I just want to make that clear for these two that are coming up here. Now, we're going to be specifically talking about not the one yesterday. We're going to be talking about the one this morning, I believe.
Meantime, President Trump hoping China, which purchases 90% of Iran's oil, can help.
No, this is yesterday's. Sorry.
End of stalemate between the U.S. and Iran.
Yes. So this is regarding yesterday morning's ship that was seized.
The summit in China comes as Iran deploys hundreds of speedboats in the Strait of Hormuz and seizes tankers amid stalled peace talks. As Fox's Trey Yinks reports, the escalation comes as two American allies in the Middle East argue over diplomacy.
What's up, 5150? Good morning.
A dispute is threatening to derail relations between two new allies at a key moment in the Iran conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced a major diplomatic breakthrough on Wednesday, saying he secretly traveled to the UAE and met with its president, Mohammed bin Zayed, a first for an Israeli leader. But just hours later, the UAE denied the visit took place, and Iran is now accusing America's Mideast allies of collusion with Israel, claiming
What's up, No? Good morning to you, by the way.
there will be consequences.
Israel just sent them Iron Dome batteries and personnel to help operate them. How come?
What's up, Duck? Good morning to you as well.
Because there's an extraordinary relationship
Man, Mike Huckabee.
between the UAE and Israel.
Iran is also making military moves in the Strait of Hormuz. On Thursday, it seized another commercial vessel.
I'm not exactly sure. If you're talking about an actual tanker, I highly doubt it. If we're talking about like actual cargo ships, I absolutely doubt it.
The British military says it's now steaming toward Iranian waters, a significant escalation after days of relative calm.
The Strait of Hormuz is open for all, commercial
Wait, Pops is here?
vessels. But they need to cooperate with our
What's up, Pops? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat as well.
Navy forces.
And with talks remaining stalled, some experts are now saying a return to combat operations is inevitable.
Going full throttle will help.
Now, I want to see that clip again right there.
To cooperate with our
Here we go.
Navy forces.
And with talks remaining stalled, some experts are now saying a return to combat
I'd like to know what the fuck I'm looking at, though.
operations is inevitable.
Going full throttle will help us reduce Iran's capability to retaliate against the Straits of Hormuz.
But the White House continues to insist it's looking for a diplomatic solution.
Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's the goal that we're focused on. Again, there's a lot of ways to accomplish that goal.
Oh,
Iran's
shit.
military claimed Thursday it's preparing to repel.
Real quick, I see you guys in the chat. I see you. Thank you for that, Charles. I very much appreciate it. So I got a late charge now. I don't want to say the man's name, but I think it's Jimmy Mack. I'm gonna assume. It says late charge for the 420. My man, thank you very much. By the way, if you guys are ever like donating and you don't want me to use your real name, obviously I don't do that anyways. But if you say in the comments, like, or in the whatever, you can say, hey, this is so and so, and then say what you want to say. So I don't dox you guys, which I would never do anyways. I wouldn't read your guys' names out.
Any new American airstrikes
Thank
in
you
the
for
coming
that, Jimmy.
days. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yinks, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Well, the Trump administration is pulling $1.3 billion in Medicaid funding from California due to allegations.
Steve Bosey sent in the $2 saying, Mike, check your phone. Well, I caught it before you could say, well, you did say it before I did it, but I didn't read it until now. Thank you for that, Steve Bosey, making it rain over there with the super chat to 2, man.
Of fraud. Vice President J.D. Vance, who is head of the White House task force to eliminate fraud, says the administration is deferring the money because California has, quote, not taken fraud very seriously. Mr. Vance also announced a 6-month freeze on new Medicare enrollments for hospice and home health agencies.
For those states that refuse to get serious about fraud, we are going to turn off that anti-fraud money. And if we continue to find problems, we can turn off other resources within their state Medicaid programs as well. Our goal here is not to do that. We don't want to turn off any money. What we want to do is ensure that people
What's up, Mojo? Good morning.
are taking fraud seriously. We want to protect Medicaid. We want to protect Medicare.
This freeze does not stop existing providers from operating. The U.S. Health and Human Services Department sent letters to state attorneys general across the country, warning them to vigorously investigate possible fraud or risk losing federal money. California Attorney General Rob Bonta is accusing the Trump administration of targeting California and other Democratic-run states for political reasons. Mr. Bonta posted to social media that his team is reviewing all available information and will not hesitate to challenge any unlawful actions by the Trump administration.
Oh boy. All right, let's go ahead and move it on. We got Iran, that regarding the Iran ship, or the Iranians seizing a ship. On that very topic, we have this real quick. Let's go ahead and see this very small short that was put out by 7 News.
In the Middle East.
Okay, that's very, very obnoxiously loud. There we go.
A ship has been seized by Iran near the Strait of Hormuz. The vessel, reportedly operating as a floating armory in the Gulf of Oman, had last been documented around 40 miles.
So it's a floating armory. Tell me that it's not theatrics, man. Oh yeah, let's go seize a ship. Meanwhile, it's their own shit.
Off the coast of the United Arab Emirates, and had spent the past month in that region. However, the Honduras-flagged ship is now being driven by Iran's military towards Iranian territorial waters. In the Middle East.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they've got like probably missiles, drones, different munitions on it. That's what I'm assuming. Real quick, you know what we haven't done? We got to do the money part, because we got you guys chatting about money. Let's go ahead and get the money part over. Let me.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
That's actual factuals, by the way. And real quick, Steve says Iran is gay.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Seems right. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Trump and Xi meet for the last rounds of talks during his China visit. This was 10 hours ago, by the way. So this came out at midnight, ironically, right when I got home, and I didn't stay up to watch it. Obviously, I had to go to bed to be on the show this morning. Anyways, let's go ahead and watch this together and figure out the last meeting with Trump and Xi of the trip.
Right.
Now, obviously, we don't speak Chinese or whatever, whether it's Mandarin or the other one. I don't know which one he speaks, but nonetheless, we don't understand Chinese. We only understand English. So let's just go ahead and.
On our way in, lived people who were thousands of years old. The president was interested to learn all about that, including the Chinese roses, which we looked at. And I agreed to send the seeds for these roses to the president as a gift.
I love that. That's great. I want to thank you very much. This has been an incredible visit.
Why do they have such lame ass audio, man?
I think a lot of good has come of it.
We got so much money in that room with China and U.S. combined. We can't get some decent microphones and decent audio engineer.
We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries. He's a man I respect greatly. Become really a friend. We've known each other now 11 years, almost 12 years. It's a long time. And we've settled a lot of different problems that other people wouldn't have been.
What's up, Liquored Up with Pancho? Good morning to you, kind sir. Good morning.
And the relationship is a very strong one. We've really done some wonderful things, I believe. We did discuss Iran. We feel very similar to Iran. We want that to end. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. We want the straits open. We're closing it now. They closed it, and we closed it on top of them. But we want the straits.
Nope, I'm not selling that, Charles. I'm not selling for anybody to do no shaving or waxing. Nope, we ain't doing none of that shit, homie. Listen, there's certain things for me. I don't need the money that bad. All right, homie.
It's open, and we want them to get it ended because it's a crazy thing. They're a little bit crazy, and that's no good. Can't have it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. But we discussed a lot of other things also, and I think we're very much on agreement. We're going to have some further discussions now with the group. But I just want to thank President Xi and all of his representatives. We've become friendly with all of them. They're great people. And it's an honor to be here. We'll be back. And I believe on September 24th or thereabouts, President Xi is going to be coming to the United States. And
which is awesome. That's I mean, truly, objectively, whether you like Trump or not, or you're left, right, indifferent, it doesn't matter. These two superpowers, like Xi said yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, but nonetheless, I digress on that, is that we should be partners. We should be working together. We shouldn't be working against you. We shouldn't be enemies. I thought that was fucking epic. And for these two superpowers to get together, I mean, listen, China ain't going nowhere. So let's just figure out a good working relationship.
We will be reciprocal, like reciprocal trade. The visit will be reciprocal. We're going to lay it on the line, and we're going to have...
I'm not doing it, PJ. Not doing it.
You're going to walk away, hopefully very impressed, like I'm very impressed with China. And I just want to end by saying thank you very much. It's been really a great couple of days. Thank you very much.
Exactly. That big ass sandwich, homie. These motherfuckers don't know, cuz. They have no idea.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not giving a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
It's true, though. It's true. All right, let's get back to this. Real quick, while it's doing that, Steve, that's the one thing that, you know, the truth be told is I was a little shocked that he took that take, you know, but I wasn't going to sit there and degrade him for saying it or anything like that. But he was thinking one-dimensional in the aspect of the war, you know, Iran, and he's thinking like priorities. Well, there's multiple things going on at the same time, and there's many branches that go off of it, you know, and this being one of them. But, you know, he took his take on it. But, yeah, no, you're right about that, though. Oh, the Facebook stream just disconnected. Fuck. That sucks. Anyways, let's fast forward. Sorry, I don't mean to make you guys listen to Chinese here.
Thank you for the support. Thank you.
这次的访问是一个历史性的、标志性的战略问题，这个很多这个。
Oh, there's no translation after it. I thought there was going to be, but there's not. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Tensions over Taiwan rise between U.S. and China as Trump departs for the United States. Now, this is a big deal. This is Xi's number one priority, okay, is regarding Taiwan. So let's go ahead and bring this up. And what it's saying here before we even play this is President Trump is heading back to the United States following a historic trip to China, participating in high-stakes talks with President Xi, while both sides confirmed a strengthened relationship between the countries. Tensions over Taiwan are rising. Chinese President Xi Thursday of, quote, clashes and even conflicts with the United States over Taiwan, cautioning President Trump that tensions over the Beijing-claimed island could jeopardize ties between the world's two biggest economies. Wow. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. It's going to be good. All right, here we go.
And we were just listening in there to some brief moments there that we had access to with President Trump as he toured a garden there with President Xi. As we continue to track the latest here on the developments coming out of this historic summit here. And one of those big issues, especially top of mind for China, was Taiwan. And it really didn't seem that the U.S. really gave an inch when it came to their stance. And there's really a lot to unpack when it comes to this summit, a lot of information already coming out. And to talk more about it, we want to bring in Professor Kerry Brown with the King's College of London. He's the professor of Chinese studies there. Professor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your time. So why is the discussion of Taiwan such a delicate topic when it comes to United States and Chinese relations?
Well, I mean, Taiwan is not diplomatically recognized by the United States. That shifted in 1979 under then.
What's up, Jamin? Good morning to you, kind sir.
And so it's kind of a sort of non-state-to-state relationship. But because of the Taiwan Relations Act and the number of subsequent acts in Congress, the United States is very committed to the security of Taiwan. And what its basic policy is this is an issue between Taiwan and China. It can only be sorted out if both sides agree on the same thing, and it's done peacefully. So that's the policy. I mean, there's been no real shift from that. President Biden sometimes sort of strayed away and said that America would come to the aid of Taiwan if it were attacked. But the policy for the Americans is actually to be ambiguous, not to say one way or the other whether they would. And I think that's something that, in fact, Trump has usually kept to. He's never really strayed from that. But the Chinese feel that, Mr. Trump is maybe more transactional. There's bigger things that they might be able to play into this. So I think that they sometimes try and kind of push him to saying a bit more. It doesn't seem on this trip that they got that, and that's good. The policy has lasted for over 50 years now. It's good that it stays in place until something better comes along, and that won't be anytime soon.
So what is really the United States?
Hell yeah, my man. It's going good. We got a lot of shit going on in the world, man. So that's what we're all honing in on.
Stance right now when it comes to Taiwan. And we've obviously heard warnings from President Xi if that were to stray. What could that look like if the United States were to stray? What would that response from China look like?
Yes, I think there's two things here. One is on Taiwan, you currently have a government at the moment, the Democratic Progressive Party under a man like the president, who, kind of is historically more for greater autonomy, even support of independence. The other party, the Nationalist Party, the KMT, historically have been a bit more about, we still regard reunification as possible one day way in the future. So there's pressure in Taiwanese domestic politics sometimes on America to be a bit more assertive. Although, again, I think the Trump might.
Yeah, no, he's fairly spot on what he's saying. He's a dry motherfucker, but I just wanted to get a little bit of what he was going to say there. I didn't want to obsess and listen to this whole thing. As you guys know, I skip a lot of different analysts and their opinions and stuff like that, because a lot of it's speculation anytime they bring people on like that. Now, on our particular program that we're watching right now, Live Now, does a very good job of bringing people that are speaking unbiased, and they're just giving raw fact what it is. It's not, there's no spin or anything. That's obviously what we do here, and that's the only time that we really listen to analysts on this channel, because I'm the analyst. Shit. Anyways, Trump on China, Taiwan. I don't think we want a war 9,500 miles away, Trump claims. Let's go ahead and see. Excuse me. It looks like I don't know where he's at, but it looks like it's probably Air Force One, and it's going to be shitty audio, guaranteed. Yep.
They fully agree, no nuclear, and if they have any nuclear of any form, I don't read the rest of them.
I'll put the captions on.
For you, it's got to be 20 years is enough, but the level of guarantee from them is not enough. In other words, it's got to be a real 20 years, not a big one. They've got to get all the fuel out and no more production. We have to get everything, but we're not even talking about, I call it the nuclear.
Man, these captions are worthless, by the way. Turn them on.
Came up with a term which seems to have gone on. I'm talking about it because they would not remove the... Yeah, they said that they can't remove it because they don't have the technology to remove it. Well, they don't have the type of tractors.
Yes and no, to be honest. They have their own thing that they smoke on. But yes, they do. But I believe it's highly illegal. I mean, like, you could be obviously arrested and prison.
They told me directly. They said the only one that can remove it is China or the U.S. We're the only ones with the equipment. They said you were right. It is a complete obliteration. With that being said, I want to get it. And they agreed to it, but then they took it back, but they'll agree to it eventually.
Can I ask you about Taiwan? What did President Xi say to you about Taiwan? And what did President Xi say to you about Taiwan? And are you still going to approve the arms sale?
So President Xi and I talked a lot about Taiwan. He thinks they cannot have anything to do with what they're doing. I mean, he's against very much what they're doing. We talked about Taiwan, we talked about Iran a lot, and I think we have a very good understanding with both. On Taiwan, he does not want to see a fight for independence because that would be a very strong confrontation.
She's cruising around. She was going nuts this morning, but if she ain't running around right now, she's probably laying down.
And I heard him out. Are you going to change your word? No, I didn't make a comment on it. I heard him out. I have a lot of respect for him. On Iran, it's very interesting. He feels strongly they can't have a nuclear weapon. said that very strongly. They cannot have a nuclear weapon, and he wants them to open up the strait. But as he said, they closed it, and then you closed them with a smile. That's true. We control the strait, and they've done no business. Literally, they've done no business in the last 2.5 weeks, which is approximately $500 million a day. So we have, we're doing very well on all fronts.
Before we leave Taiwan, Mr. President, President Xi said that there was a risk of conflict with the U.S. over Taiwan. What's your response to that?
I don't think there's a conflict, other than we don't need their strait. We don't need the Hormuz.
On Taiwan, Mr. President Xi said there was a risk of conflict with the U.S. over Taiwan.
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to be. I think we'll be fine. He doesn't want to see. He doesn't want to see a war. And you have two things. You have the Iranian situation, and that I think we agree almost entirely, other than he's a buyer and we're not.
Well, the truth is, man, China stays out of a lot of conflicts that the United States is involved in, respectfully. You know, they do give intelligence and all that kind of stuff, but they do stay out of shit militarily. Now, this is what Xi is explaining is like, listen, this is the one thing I'm willing to go to war over. This is the one fucking thing, dude. Okay? Just get that straight. That is the one thing I'm willing to go to war with the United States with.
We don't need it. And on Taiwan, he doesn't want to see a movement for independence. He says, look, you know, we've had it for thousands of years, and then at a certain period of time it left, then we were going to get it back. They had the Korean War. A lot of things happened. That's all history. But, on Taiwan, he feels very strongly. I made no commitment either way. We'll see what happens.
What about the arms sale
And Trump's thing is, I haven't committed to either one yet.
to Taiwan?
I'll make a determination over the next fairly short period.
You're not necessarily going to go ahead. It was your proposal.
I'm going to make a determination. I'm going to see. I have to speak to the person that right now is, you know who he is, that's running Taiwan.
Mr. President, did President Xi make any firm commitment to put pressure on the Iranians to reopen the Strait of Hormuz?
I'm not asking for any favors, because when you ask for favors, you have to do favors in return. We don't need favors.
Right. And you don't want to give leverage, any more leverage to China. So China may already have.
We've wiped out their armed forces, essentially. We may have to do a little cleanup work because we had a little month-long ceasefire, I guess you'd call it, but we have a blockade that's so effective. That's why we did the ceasefire. We really did the ceasefire at the request of other nations. I wouldn't have really been in favor of it, but we did it.
What's up, Jason?
As a favor
Morning.
to Pakistan, who are terrific people, the field marshal and the prime minister. But no, I mean, President Xi and I agree on many things, and we agree very much on trade. We're going to be doing a lot of trading. Our farmers are going to be taking in. I mean, our farmers are going to be very happy with the deal we made.
Do you think that he will put pressure, that he will try and get them to
ask him to put pressure, because I don't need favors. I think he will. I think.
He already answered that. So.
He'd like to see it opened up. He gets about 40% of his energy or his oil from that.
Right, and he's been forced to have to buy from the United States. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to be talking about the Hantavirus a little bit this morning. So it says from the CDC, 41 people in 11 states monitored for potential exposure. Now, we actually have the map of how many states in the United States are currently being observed for people that might have had exposure to the Hantavirus. So let's go ahead and bring this up.
Right now, what I want to do.
And the CDC is talking about how it's holding at 41 cases right now.
Is talk a little bit more.
So look at that. Look at that. Washington, California, Arizona, North Dakota, Minnesota, Kansas, Texas, Georgia, Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey. Those are monitored states right now.
about a story that we have been following closely, that is the Hantavirus, as passengers who were aboard a cruise hit by an outbreak, many of them remaining in quarantine. That includes about 18 Americans who are isolated in Georgia and Nebraska. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reporting as of Thursday that 41 people across nearly a dozen states are being monitored for the potential for a hantavirus exposure. Now, we've also heard several news conferences here on Live Now from Fox from the World Health Organization. And I do want to bring in Tariq Yashaovich with the World Health Organization in Geneva, joining us live to discuss all of the latest. And Tariq, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you, Josh.
Of course. And first off, I want to start by talking a little bit.
You know, these guys are, coming out and talking from the World Health Organization and shit like that, right? Like they're talking to the world right now. And this guy gets on a piece of shit laptop, no microphone having ass, just using his microphone from his laptop. Like, dude, I'm a nobody. But I'm prepared anytime, let's say Live Now from Fox or CBS or whatever wanted to pull me onto their shit, they could actually hear me, and I'd put a background up and make it nice and stuff like that. But just saying that you'd at least be able to hear me
overall about the
correctly.
Hantavirus itself. For folks who maybe are getting kind of bits and pieces here, can you explain exactly what the Hantavirus is and what this specific virus itself, the Andes virus, is?
Yeah, we've already discussed this many of times. We've clarified this a million times. And this is the one very rare strain out of the 9 strains that, yes, does transfer person to person. I don't care what any of these idiots trying to tell you. They were listening to the very, very first report of it, but we now have learned since the whole thing that there are 9 variants, and the Andes variant, yes, does spread person to person.
Well.
Okay, so first, Josh, this is not a new virus. We know about hantaviruses. It's a group of viruses that are carried by rodents and can infect humans, causing...
He speaks really slow, so let's go ahead and play back speed a little bit.
A severe disease. Normally people get infected by getting in touch with droppings, saliva, urine of those rodents.
What's up, Crazy Mama? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
But in some cases, there could be a human-to-human transmission, especially with this type of hantavirus that we are talking right now, and this type of hantavirus that we know can be transmitted from one person to another.
What are health officials watching most closely right now? And I also do want to emphasize that all health officials, the CDC, the World Health Organization, saying there is really a low risk here. We're not talking about an epidemic, a pandemic. It's just being watched closely because of what's happening here. But what are health officials watching most closely?
Well, what we are trying...
That's hilarious, dude. I got you.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Really to understand is really level of human-to-human transmission, how it has been transmitted on this ship. So far there are 11 cases, 8 of them have been confirmed by laboratory testing. All these people have been on this ship. So we have to understand really what was the mode of human-to-human transmission. We know it happened, but how exactly it happened. We also try to understand how it got on the ship, where it got on the ship, and where was that contact between human and animal world. So the first case has been affected, then embarked on the ship. We are also obviously looking to science to see where we are with possible diagnostics, with therapies, with vaccines. So far, there is no specific treatment, nor vaccine for hantavirus and these type. But this is something that definitely scientists are going to look at, as we do for all the other viruses that could cause public health events and concern with larger public.
Okay, that's enough of this whole thing. You guys see the 11 states that are being monitored in the United States right now. We're going to go ahead and move on. So on the whole thing about China and armory, well, weapons, actually. Trump says China agrees to not sell weapons to Iran amid war. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly get into it. You know what we haven't done, actually? We haven't embraced our fuck-ups yet. We got to do that. Remember that on a daily basis, you got to embrace your fuck-ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up. And fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
We are now embraced. Embrace thy process. All right, here we go.
My name is Josh Breslow, and I want to get you right back into some of the big stories
What's up,
that we are
Stacks? Good morning.
today. Take a look right here as we have the latest on the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. President Trump saying that China's President Xi Jinping agreed Iran should not have a nuclear weapon and offered to help open the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Trump explained that Xi said China would not provide weapons to Iran amid the conflict. In the
Okay,
meantime,
so right here, this is what Iran is claiming, by the way. An Indian-flagged cargo ship sank off the coast of Oman after an attack sparkled a blaze aboard the vessel following a suspected drone attack, Indian authorities announced on Thursday. So it was obviously yesterday, but in their local time. All right, so let's go
a
and
ship
figure this out.
anchored off the United Arab Emirates was seized and taken toward Iran. Another, a cargo ship near Oman, sank after being attacked, escalating tensions in the strait. That is a post from Iran International English saying an Indian-flagged cargo ship sank off the coast of Oman after an attack sparked a blaze aboard the vessel following a suspected drone attack. Indian authorities announcing that Thursday as Iran's foreign minister was visiting New Delhi. The ship was attacked when it was en route from Somalia over to another location Wednesday. India said without identifying who attacked the ship, so they have not provided more information. But the boat there sank off near the Strait of Hormuz after that suspected drone attack, while all crew members were safely rescued. London-based maritime security firm Windward said Thursday that the 57-meter vessel had its automatic identification system turned off when the incident occurred. So a lot of developing information that is coming in.
Isn't that convenient?
About this at this hour. And what I want to do is discuss the latest developments as we know that officials have said Operation Epic Fury is over, but there's still a lot going on with the conflict between the U.S. and Iran. Let's bring in Ari Chickarol, JINSA's Associate Director of Foreign Policy, to discuss it all. Ari, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And first off, I want to start by kind of getting an overall look here. As I mentioned here off the top, President Trump said that China's President Xi Jinping told him during some of their private conversations that China would not be selling weapons to Iran during the conflict. What do you make of that, and how significant is that overall?
It's significant if China follows through on the full extent of that. Iran was able to rebuild a lot of its ballistic missile arsenal after the 12-day war through Chinese help, providing precursor chemicals.
Well, they knew after that 12-day war, they knew it was coming. They knew something was coming, so they definitely got on their A game, stocking up as much ballistics as they possibly could.
Chemicals that it needs for ballistic missiles.
What's up,
now,
GG?
China
Good morning.
Classify a lot of those chemicals as dual use, which means they might not qualify under China's interpretation of that promise. So the United States needs to make sure that China is following through, not just on providing conventional weapons, air defenses, but also stopping China from providing those dual-use technologies and chemicals.
And right now you're looking at that post again from Iran International English. We're talking about ships that were seized, one of them and another one attacked.
Yeah, but they've already, here's the thing, man. When they say this shit, I kind of just take it as a grain of salt because I take it with a grain of salt because here's the thing. They lied the first two times about them seizing these two ships, blah, blah, blah. And they made like some media video out of it. They did a whole bunch of shit out of it. It was propaganda because though was an Iranian flagged ship, it was another, it could have been I can't remember which one it was, but nonetheless, it had Iranian oil on it. And so they're just stealing their own shit to propagandize like they're doing some shit. But so I take everything, like I said,
leading to that ship sinking. As far as the Strait of Hormuz goes, that was, of course, a topic of conversation for Presidents Trump and Xi. Where do things kind of stand right now? Because it sounds as though if you're looking at different vessels that are being seized, attacked, sinking, that things have not gotten any better overall.
Well, we've seen the blockade has been highly effective.
And by the way, what you're talking about here, Charles, no, you're correct. They've been purposely dumping, yes.
In terms,
and they've stored up as many tankers as they could up there
of stopping Iran from both rearming, from getting its oil out, or from getting ships that are.
Well, they're trying to prevent them having to cap off their wells. You know what I mean? That's what they're trying to prevent. So right now it's damaging their infrastructure. It's a bad scene for them on the oil front for sure.
Trying to head to Iran in. So the blockade has been effective. Unfortunately, Iran has also been able to use a small number of anti-ship missiles, drones, its fast attack watercraft to also affect a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. So the United States has severely degraded Iran's military.
Yeah, they say if they do any, like, where they stop their process, getting it restarted again after they quote unquote uncap it, whatever the terminology is, it's like 30% of the production that they'll receive back if they get it back.
Military capacity by destroying a lot of its missiles and drones through thousands of strikes alongside Israel throughout Epic Fury. Unfortunately, Iran has also demonstrated an ability through just a handful of well-placed missiles and drones to hit ships either trying to sail through the Strait of Hormuz or in port. And that's really deterred ships from wanting to sail through. So as you mentioned, Epic Fury is over. There have been diplomatic talks, but now it's time for Epic Fury 2.
That was exactly what I was going to say. It's like they're going to name it something else, and they're going to name it a whole different operation so that they don't have to go back to Congress, essentially. They said that they, quote unquote, were able to get their objectives finished with the Operation Epic Fury. Now it's going to be Epic Fury 2, or whatever it's going to be called.
An expanded operation that really opens up.
Like I said, I said this, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. This is just halftime.
The Strait of Hormuz by both expanding the blockade, targeting Iran's remaining missile and drone capacity, opening up corridors for ships to sail through under U.S. protection.
And one thing that we kind of discussed.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. We got enough information on that. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this next ordeal. This came out right before we hit go live this morning. We've got the House Speaker Mike Johnson speaks to reporters this morning, just basically an hour ago. Here we go. Let's go ahead and bring it up and see what we got here.
Week here in the House. The House Republican majority is moving the ball, moving the agenda. Of course, this is Police Week, and we've had a number of ways to memorialize that, memorializing our fallen officers and all those who take the risk and put on the badge every day to protect all of our communities around the country. So we had bills and resolutions on the floor, as you saw. We had a wreath-laying ceremony. We had a candlelight vigil out on the steps of the Capitol. All that's appropriate, and we express our sincere gratitude to law enforcement around the country. I can tell you the Republicans in the House and Senate stand with law enforcement back to blue. We always will. Also, today we just passed our first regular order appropriations bill for the FY fiscal year 27 cycle. This is, again, fulfilling our commitment to get back to regular order in the appropriations process. That's the only way for Congress to be a good steward of taxpayer funds. We have broken the Christmas omnibus spending bill madness that had beset Congress for many, many years. And
be safe out there, Brother Steve. We'll see you on the flip side. Be safe out there. Enjoy your weekend.
Getting back, rebuilding the muscle memory for Congress to do its job. We're really proud of that. Now we have the remaining appropriations bills that will be coming through in short order, trying to keep on the clock and make sure this happens well before before the end of the fiscal year. So stay tuned for more of that action. We're also turning our attention to a big week next week here in Congress. We're going to have a lot of important measures scheduled for floor action.
It's only going to be a very, very short amount of overtime, to be quite honest, VC.
Let me list a couple of them for you. First,
we'll get a little bit.
Bipartisan housing affordability legislation. This will be landmark legislation that will help increase the supply of housing around the country and bring down the cost. It's going to help more American families pursue the American dream of home ownership. And I have with me Chairman French Hill, the Financial Services Committee in the House, who's done extraordinary work. Again, bipartisan on this, and he'll address that in just a moment. Also on the floor next week, long-awaited legislation, the SCORE Act. This is going to support student athletes and the educational mission of college athletics. Really important, critical stuff to get the NIL kind of madness under control. And Congress is stepping up to lead on that, and we're happy to do it. And finally, the Reconciliation 2.0 legislation, which has been developing now to fully fund the immigration enforcement and border protection for 3 years through the rest of the Trump administration. And I will say this is incredibly, despite Democrat opposition. Think of it. They do not want to give $1 to secure your border and to enforce federal immigration law to keep your streets and communities safe. It's unbelievable to us, but that's where it is. Republicans have to do it on our own. We will do that next week and finally get that done. Once again, despite constant skepticism around here from the press that we can't perform, we are getting it done. We get it done every week. Sometimes it's a slow process, but we check the boxes and we're delivering for the American people. Promises made, promises kept. With that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Hill for the latest on the housing bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank all of you for being with us this morning. Next week on the suspension calendar, we'll bring the House amendments to the Senate-passed housing bill. This has been a collaborative effort since the 118th Congress between Senator Scott and myself to bring a housing bill that's supply-side oriented, that'll increase the accessibility of housing and also the affordability of housing. This is a key, I'd say, goal of House and Senate Republicans, and it's obviously a key goal of President Trump because he talked about it in the State of the Union. And this bill has a provision in it that meets his request that we limit institutional investors from being out there competing with Mary and John in their attempt to buy a house. This is in the bill. It's in the bill in the right way. I think it removes some of the legal challenges that we felt that were in the structure of the Senate bill. We think this has made a better bill. And I want to say thanks to Senator Scott and his team working over the last few months. Congratulate him also on the Clarity Act, which voted out of the Senate Banking Committee with a bipartisan vote yesterday. This is a very important priority also for President Trump and House and Senate Republicans. And so we look forward to a good vote that will advance housing affordability, housing accessibility, help our American families in all 50 states, and also accomplish President Trump's goal of limiting institutional investors' ability to compete against our moms and dads who are out trying to buy a house.
Thank you. A couple questions?
Yesterday, the House defeated an Iran war powers resolution, but there were 2 new Republicans that voted for it. Are you confident that you can keep leading back these types of resolutions?
Something about the block of the war in Congress.
Yes, look, Iran is we're not having kinetic activity right now, as we would say. The president has declared
Okay, obviously I misheard.
Operation Epic Fury to have concluded, and now we're working on the next project, which is getting the Strait of Hormuz open. We don't expect that to be a warfare activity, so to speak. So we've got to allow the administration time to negotiate these things. The president has been doing that in earnest. The difficulty, as they've articulated in the
maybe it was, I don't know,
White House, is that you got to make sure you're negotiating with the right parties, and it's taken Iran some time because the top layers of leadership were taken out to make sure the right people with the right authority are at the table. So that's been the complicating factor. I do know that our allies and our
What's up, Stephanie? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far. I definitely know that we are. Happy Friday.
Neighbors and friends around the world. And most recently in the discussion the president had with Xi in China just in the last couple of days, everyone has an interest in the strait being reopened for commerce. And so you're going to have, I think, international partners who assist with that. We think it comes to a conclusion soon. And I don't think Congress needs to get in the way of the administration as they finish what is now a negotiation instead of a military conflict. That's the way we see it. So we'll see how that goes.
The Health Ethics Committee confirmed its investigation to Congressman Edwards. Has there been a conversation about addressing potentially the onboarding process for these congressmen, considering there's been 2 resignations over similar allegations?
Well, look, the 2 resignations all these are individualized and special cases. They're different facts, different scenarios, different circumstances. And in the case of Swalwell, I mean, there was a long pattern of abuses that apparently everybody on Capitol Hill knew about except me. And it was right for him to resign. In the case of Tony Gonzalez, I mean, there was a long, really detailed due process investigation through the ethics committee, and he made a determination to step down. That was the appropriate thing as well. I am very consistent, intellectually consistent in every way, no matter whether you're talking about a Republican or a Democrat. Everyone is due process. If an allegation is made against someone, that is
What's up, brother Straight Jacket, my man? Hopefully you're enjoying the morning so far.
Not reason for expulsion or disciplinary action. People get a chance to present their case. That's what the House Ethics Committee is all about. It's a process that has worked for a long, long time in this chamber. It's a very active committee right now. I can see that to you, but we've got to get on top of this. Now, you know, this week we now announced a new bipartisan measure. I'm really proud of this effort. It's probably long overdue, but myself and Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries both have endorsed this and set it in place. So you have the Republicans Women's Caucus and the Democratic Women's Caucus working together in a partnership, as they like to call it, to work through the issues of misconduct of members with staff, to make sure that, in particular here, especially female staff members who work on Capitol Hill, are comfortable and safe. And there needs to be better reporting mechanisms, perhaps, on when lines are crossed. We're going to police that very carefully. We're going to make sure that this is the safest place in America to work, as it should be. And so looking forward to that group and the productive ideas that come out of that. And I'm really proud that that's a bipartisan effort, as it should be. I'll bless it and move that as aggressively as possible, and we'll get that in place. So it'll help solve the problem.
You've artfully laid out your legislative agenda. We know that there's a packed calendar coming up. You always have your narrow majority in the back of your mind. Next week, all eyes are going to be on Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. Who do you believe right now is the best person to coalesce around the conference to deliver on those priorities, particularly in the president's second term?
Well, I watch all the primaries very carefully, of course, and the speaker's in charge of the whole map, and we're going to keep and grow this majority in this cycle, and I'm absolutely convinced, especially after the redistricting changes to the map, we feel very, very bullish about this. So we're going to run right through the tape. I'm not going to get engaged in these individual primaries. We see how it sorts out, but we're going to have a great crop of people. We recruited extraordinary candidates this cycle on the Republican side. I mean, great Americans who are going to come here and serve faithfully and patriotically, and we're looking forward to that new class coming in. Yes, ma'am.
On foreign policy, should President Trump have been more committal when it comes to Taiwan during his visit to China?
I haven't seen I've been really busy the last couple of days, so I haven't seen the exact readout on how that discussion went. I heard a couple little comments offhand of what he said. He feels like they had a very productive meeting. They talked about some really important issues, and I'm awaiting sit down with him and go through it in detail. We had an exchange text last night, but he's on the way back now, I think, and we'll sit down and go through it. We'll find out. Look, we've always been concerned, and we've made America's interest very clear, our position on Taiwan. They need to stay independent and secure there, and we have an interest in that, as does everybody around the world, because of chip manufacturing and other.
Well, shit, Trump just came out and said, well, I haven't made a decision on either side of this.
Reasons there. I'm sure they discussed that, but I don't know the details of it because I haven't talked to the president yet. So one more.
Yeah. Trump already was like, hey, well, China did just say this is the one thing we're willing to go to war over, kind of thing. So.
Well, that's first I've heard of it. I mean, obviously, we'll dedicate whatever resources are necessary to ensure the House Ethics Committee does its job as it should. And I would concede, and he had a great challenge. The chairman of Ethics Committee, that committee is very busy right now. There's lots of allegations flying around. So we'll make sure that they have everything they need to get the job done. And we'll continue to, again, police these things as best we can. We need every member of Congress on both sides of the aisle to act appropriately and according to the dignity of their office. It's a small ask. And
be good out there, PJ.
Of the people around here do that every day. Those that don't will face disciplinary action, and we're gonna police our own. We'll do that. Thank you all so much.
All right, that's the end right there. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for showing the amount of love that you guys do Monday through Friday and allowing me to be able to do this. And of course, you guys that are members here are the ones that truly fund this show. And our one day to give back is obviously on members only tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you guys tune in for that. We always have a good time. We never, we don't focus on all this craziness for members only and shit like that. We do crazy shit. You know what I mean? We review crazy compilations, whether it be, it could be even cops shit. It could be all sorts of, SWAT stuff. It could be, or it could go into the funny shit, like the craziest moments of, caught on camera and shit. We definitely have a good time, man. So listen, I can't thank you guys enough. Again, we'll see you guys here tomorrow morning for members only. And of course, we got our one day off on Sunday. And then of course, we'll be back Monday morning for more of the world's madness. Listen, stick around. We're going to be rating our buddy Chatting with Stacks. He's live right now. So make sure you guys let him know that we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. Anyways, until tomorrow morning, we'll see you guys. Much love, honor, respect. God bless.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.